Do you think the UFC is ever actually going to dive into different martial arts under one event like one championship does? I found a very interesting thread over on X that I want to bring you guys to, and as always, I would love to know what you think about this conversation down below. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. Guys, let's start off with this post over here from Tetsuya, okay? I found this very interesting. After signing Mikey Musumeci, it means that the UFC will go head-to-head with one in the grappling world. If the UFC can do a grappling promotion, then why can't they do a Muay Thai or kickboxing promotion too? Creating a 4-ounce Muay Thai promotion in the US will actually be the biggest threat to one because it's actually one's best product right now. That's very, very true about one championship. What I was kind of thinking, and I would love to know what you guys think about this, I wonder if the UFC, and I know it might be a little bit of a stretch, but it doesn't make sense. They've been signing more guys from one championship. They got Mikey Musumeci. They're doing their own grappling thing. And Dana White has even talked about, like, even getting into boxing. I always wonder if they're kind of threatened by one championship. Now, I don't think that the UFC will ever be taken over. I think the UFC will be forever the biggest MMA promotion. But in my opinion, one's been doing a fantastic job at spreading. And, like, even just in the past year, the breakouts that they've had at the US, the talent they've been signing, they've been doing a fantastic job. And if you've been following the channel, I know you might sit here and say, oh my God, you're biased, because if you are just watching this video and you are a casual watcher or a new viewer to the channel, one championship is my favorite promotion. I sit back and I think about this. I'm like, there's no way the UFC is threatened by one. But then again, they signed Mikey Musumeci, and they're really making a big deal in the grappling world. And I'm going to watch it. I love grappling. And one of the reasons why I love one championship is because you get to see all of the martial arts. I love MMA when it's all put together. I love Muay Thai. I love kickboxing. And Tetsuya is right in saying that kickboxing and Muay Thai are oftentimes more exciting. As much as I love MMA. It's probably my favorite, but I'd be lying if I said Muay Thai didn't have me up and going get really, really involved with things while I'm watching it, more so than anything else, you know? Regardless, there were a few replies to this that I wanted to take a look at, and again, I'd love to know what you guys think about this down below. So there was a reply to it that said, honestly, I think they've invested so much into MMA for like 2 decades. For myself, I think people prefer Muay Thai over MMA after watching some solid fights. Yeah, you just need to, if more people gave one championship a chance, they might realize how exciting it actually is, because you don't hear about bad cards over in one championship. You hear about that for UFC, MMA, and I understand it's because of a lot of grappling takes place. I personally, I enjoy every single fight card that I watch. There are very few where I'm like, yeah, that was a little bit lackluster, because I understand what I'm watching, but at the same time, most fans are kind of like just hungry for blood, right? You got to think about that casual audience, and the casuals over at the West at least aren't going to sit down and watch one championship. But if the UFC put on kickboxing or Muay Thai, they'd probably get a lot of views, and I think it would do very, very well for him. There was another reply to it, and I just want to include this one because it's funny, because Slap Fight is booming. Yeah, let's go Power Slap. Did you know that Power Slap is getting more views than the NFL, one championship, the NBA, all of them combined? Did you know that? Doubt me now. Doubt me now. Let's continue on. Here's another reply. It's not going head-to-head with one because one is not a grappling promotion. UFC FI is going to head-to-head with WNO, Polaris, and other. I might be really stupid. I'm not familiar with Polaris. Anyways, sorry. Without, I need to get more involved in the grappling world. I don't know if that's something to do with grappling. Anyways, regardless, without messing up the best product with grappling fights. I understand. But I am inclined with Tetsuya over here to believe what he's saying. Like, I mean, in a sense, they just signed one of one's biggest grappling stars. I get that. But signing Mike Musumeci really makes me think that maybe they do want to contend with one. Maybe they want to actually break into that department, because grappling has an incredible fan base. I personally love watching grappling. I love it. It's going to be difficult, and I don't think it's a good idea for the UFC. Like, I like what they're doing now. I don't think it's a good idea for the UFC to do what one championship does and just have some grappling mixed in with the card. I love that. One championship advertised themselves as the home of martial arts. That's true. I personally love that. I know there's a lot of hardcore fans that would love that as well. A lot of jiu-jitsu guys, a lot of people who just love martial arts in general. And I'm not saying if you love martial arts then and you don't like the grappling, I'm not saying that you're a fake fan or anything like that. I hope you guys understand what kind of fan I am when I'm talking about this, right? I don't think it's a good idea for the UFC to do what one championship does. If they're going to do this, they're doing it the right way. Having their own thing on Fight Pass, purely grappling, they can get everybody that's invested in grappling to sit down and watch that. I love grappling events, especially when the UFC's been doing them, because so far, I've been really enjoying what I've been seeing. But anyways, let's continue on to a couple more. Silver Wolf had this to say: it could work counterintuitive. Get people into Muay Thai or kickboxing, then they all realize all the best strikers are in another promotion. Yeah, there's great talent outside the UFC, but I would say the UFC still has the best talent. If you want to talk about one championship, man, and I know that people have been talking about this since Reiner de Riddler went over. He is not the best representation of what one championship has to offer. Not nearly the best representation, because people are like, oh my God, how bad is one actually? You got a guy past his prime, a guy with wonky striking, and a one-dimensional fighter. He's not a good representation of one, because one has incredible fighters. There are incredible fighters in other organizations. The problem is, if you were to group all of the organizations together, the UFC would have more high-level fighters, if that makes sense. But this, honestly, this could be true. People realize all the best strikers are in another promotion. I don't know. It's possible. It's possible, but that's a very, very interesting take. Let's take a look at another one. One was ahead of the game with grappling. Unfortunately, it didn't have access to the depth of the talent in America. Sure, it has signed some big names, but the matches were not competitive. One should have had its MMA fighters compete in grappling. It would have made for far more dynamic matches. That's very interesting. I understand what they're saying, but I don't know. There's a lot of really, really good matchups. There's just some people like Mikey Musumeci who have been incredibly dominant, but I don't think that's really anything to complain about one and them not getting into it too early or whatever he said. Excuse me, sorry, I'd have to rework it. Should have had their MMA fighters compete in grappling. Unfortunately, didn't have access to the depth of the talent in America. They're really breaking into America, though. They've been doing a fantastic job. Since Demetrius Johnson went over and since they've been having the events in the U.S., and I don't know if one championship actually spoke about having more events in the U.S., I know that they've had a very, very successful year so far. I just need to pay more attention to that, to be honest. But for the UFC to start getting into grappling, I can't help but think it just a little bit that they might actually be threatened by one championship. But then again, I sit back and I think about that, and I'm like, but it's the UFC. The numbers they get are ridiculous. And if the UFC really tried, if they had the press conferences, if they did the proper promotion, if they made all the fun fights that people want to see, there would be no chance for one championship. They would take over social media. But on the other side of the coin, what if one championship dove into social media like the UFC does? I don't understand why one championship doesn't do that. They have such huge potential, amazing talent, amazing stars that nobody knows about because one championship is lacking in the promotion that they've been doing. I know they're the home of martial arts. I know that's what it's mostly about, and I love that. But it can't hurt to do some promotion, man. Regardless, I'm very interested in whether or not the UFC is fearful of one championship, or if they just simply see a market that they haven't dove into. I don't know. Could be that simple, guys. I'd love to know what you think about this down below. Now, the conversation about other organizations doesn't have to stop there, because I made a video a little while ago diving into the pros and cons of each MMA organization that I watch, and we talk about one championship and the UFC in there. I would love for you to check out this video on screen. Again, I think it's pretty well put together. I'd love to know what you guys think about it. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.